just kidding. She's
That's
not.
oh my gosh.
It's more like she's suffering.
How do I know if it's recording? Oh, I see the numbers. Okay.
Technology.
We are recording and it's already started, and I hope that I can edit it. So we'll go from there. So everybody, thank you so much for coming. I think this is going to be a great hour. I want to introduce the first of our master series. Hello,
Hey,
Oliver is here. Oliver, you go there.
Okay.
Oh yeah, would you give him one of those? Oh, we can cut that out of the recording. The reason that I asked Ken to be the first of our Master Agent series is that he is so good at generating listings and leads and keeping them forever. Ken uses all of his basic resources, but very importantly, he has used the services of a real estate coach for many, many years. And even though he has 23 years of experience and is one of the most successful agents in our company, he still goes back to basics and back to learning all the time. I cannot tell you how much I admire Ken's work ethic. He is at the office in the morning before me every day. And I think you come in some days at 7 in the morning.
Sometimes, yeah, 6:37 to get ready for the day.
To get ready for the day. He keeps his schedules, he keeps his appointments, he services all of his stuff, and he uses an assistant for the stuff that he doesn't need to be at. So I am going to turn this over to Ken. Maybe a few questions and answers along the way. Let's keep this really informal, but Ken has a lot to say.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate it, Janice. One of the things, if you are really going to grow your business, you have to start with a foundation. And a foundation is having a schedule. You know, a lot of people's like, what's that? You know, and if you're looking at this here, is most of y'all's schedule looks like this? Blank, right? So I would say the first thing to do is commit to having a time that you're going to be in the office every day. You know, like if it's 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever time that you're going to do. Because if you had a real job, like if you worked for IBM, do you think IBM would let you show up at 10 o'clock today and 11 o'clock tomorrow and the next day? Probably not. And the other thing is, well, having a schedule, you know what you're going to be doing that day. A lot of people get in the office, and I'm sure y'all been in the office and going, where did the day went? I didn't do anything. I didn't accomplish anything today. So it's just having that schedule there. What I usually will do is the night before, I will sit down and I'll look at, okay, I've got to call these 5 people, you know, to do some follow-up with. I need to have an appointment for like 2 o'clock, 3:30, and 5 o'clock that day. So I'd start to put that down there. And one of the things when you start filling out the schedule, then you start following the schedule much better, and you feel like you're more productive with your time. Is anybody in here has any sales background prior to becoming an agent? So you sort of know that in sales, you're the rainmaker, you've got appointments to make the money come in. I would say, like, for my schedule, and this is just, y'all can write it down or whatever, like at 7 o'clock when I get into the office, the very first thing that I do is I look at the FMLS to see what new listings have come on the market, what has went pending, and what is under contract. And you might ask, well, why do you do that? First of all, if you're working in a couple of areas, it gives you that knowledge of where the market is, what's happened since yesterday. And as you do that each and every day, you'll figure out that there is how much houses are selling for when you go, what's pending, and what's on the market, where you can be very knowledgeable of the market and the market area. A lot of people, if I ask, this person or that person, how many days are on the market before you sell a house? They're like, I don't know. Or, what's the average sales price in your area? Maybe 400, 500, 700, I don't know. And then that conveys to the seller that you're not confident in what you're doing and you don't know about the market. But if you walk in, you know your stats, days on the market, what's the average sales price, then at least you have some foundation, and the seller goes, well, this person knows what he's talking about, or she knows what she's talking about. So that's one of the things there is I do that the first thing when I come in. I want to make sure. The second thing that I will do, like at 8 o'clock, if there's any follow-up, Lisa, if there's any follow-up.
I asked him that.
If there's any follow-up, I usually will call the people back then. And I tell the people, hey, I usually start at 8 o'clock. Would it be okay if I give you a call at 8 o'clock to 8:30 to follow up with you on whatever the case might be? It might be follow up for a for sale by owner, follow up with a past client, whatever you're doing to follow up. Another little trick right there too, if you've got somebody that's on the fence of listing, the best thing to do is set an appointment between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You know why?
Nobody else wants to.
They're in a hurry, they gotta get out the door. So they're gonna be more inclined to sign with you. Rather than if you do it in the evening, later, then they're gonna be like, well, we gotta feed the kids, can we do this and do that? I'd say if you really got somebody highly motivated. And when you're looking for that, you call them, usually you can set the appointment with them. They're fresh, they don't have anything on their mind, and you can move forward. And then by 9 o'clock, I'm on the phone prospecting. So what I usually do is the night before, I'll pick the expires that I wanna call, or I'll pick the for sale by owners, I'll pick my past clients. Now, let me ask y'all this. As far in y'all's phone, how many people would y'all probably say that y'all have in y'all's phone?
5,000.
Okay.
In your phone, wow.
Yeah. And with that, how many do y'all call each day?
10. Yeah, not a lot.
And if you call, just say 5 to 6 a day, if you have, 1,000, you shouldn't have a minimum of 1,000 people that you should have at your access to be able to call. And why I say that is the average person that has 1,000 people, they get 10% business. And couldn't y'all use 100 deals this year? We could keep rocking and rolling. We could be the 20% here, sit a compass, right? And then, so what I do is from like 9 to 9:50, I'll call expires and talk to them, new, old, whatever. When you're doing that, I have like a little kitchen timer because I'm like Tootie, I'm expressive, so I can talk and go on and go on. So what I do is I have the kitchen timer, I'll put it on for 50 minutes.
50.
50.
You find that many expires daily?
50 minutes, because your time attention span after 50 minutes, you're not as energetic as you are. You know, you've been told no, or slam on the phone, don't you ever call me again, whatever. But I find with the 50 minutes, I know that last 10 minutes, I get a break to go get something to drink, whatever, and then I can get back on it. But the timer is just to keep me on my schedule, because when it goes off at 9:50, even if I'm talking to a person, I said, oh, the next client's here. Can we go ahead and set an appointment, or do I need to follow up with you in the morning at 8? And that gets me, you know, on my schedule where I can go talk for 10 minutes and then come back. And then like from 10 to 10, from like 10:05 to 11, I get back on the phones and I will call like 5 past clients. I'll touch base with any for sale by owners, or I will do just listed, just sold calls and just check anything around. Because one of the things I was sharing with Janice as we were talking about this is that today's day in this type of market, listings are very hard to get. And if you don't have like tons of experience and you don't have a big book of business, it's like, okay, I gotta work with buyers. And usually with a listing appointment, you're only should be on the listing appointment for 20 to 30 minutes. Get in, get out.
That's a whole nother class.
That's a whole nother class for a whole nother day. So you should get in and get out, because then they'll start picking you for your commission and just different things like that. Where it takes 20 to 30 minutes, on a buyer it takes longer, because y'all gotta go out and show property, and they don't like this, and they get emotional because they didn't get the last house and all that good stuff. So doing the listings, it takes you less time to be able to get it and have more business and have more free time, because, you know, with some buyers, they take a little bit longer than others. But in the business, you'll find that you're either gonna be a listing agent or a buyer's agent. And either one, whatever you're at, you know, whatever your strength is what you're gonna do. Because I've got other people that are great buyer's agents, and they can get the people, they listen, they go forth with them, and then they can get them closed. And then there's other listing agents that are more suitable for the, you know, the sellers. And I fall on that side, because I'm like, hey, let's get it done. I don't have time, because if I'm with a buyer, I just say, hey, I'm gonna pick out 3 houses. I've listened to everything you said, and at the end, I want you to buy one.
HGTV, right?
Yeah, I just put that out there. I'm like, hey, you told me what you wanted. I got you the top 3 places in the neighborhood. And then when we get there, I want you to pick one of them, because I've got the contract ready. So
Let me ask a question.
Sure.
You are very, very efficient with the way that you call your prospects, you call your old clients, and of course your expirers and FSBOs. But do you use a system for your CRM so that you can go through that quickly and know who to call?
Yes, there's a couple of different things that I do, but with the IO, I put everybody in the system and then I get them to come up. That's one easier way that you can get the IO if you've got 5 or 10 people. And sometimes you go on vacation for a week or you get busy with other things, then you're gonna have them to pop up. You go through them. A good thing to do is to have some type of theme or topic that you want to cover when you call, because you have to give something of value when you talk to the people. You don't want to be having commission breath. Do you know what that is?
Commission breath?
Yes.
It's like morning breath?
Almost. Yeah.
But worse, okay.
Yeah, so what commission breath is, every time you call somebody, you have nothing of value to give them, and you're just like, hey, who do you know that wants to buy or sell? Who do you know wants to buy or sell, right? It's all about you, not about the client. That's one of the things that I've learned over the years, because not having sell experience, I was like, hey, I just call them, they know I'm calling. I need a listing, I need to sell, I need this, I need that. And I found out that it's not about me. So when you call them, you can give them things like, what's the stats in the market area? What's the most recent sales? And then from there, find out a little bit more about the client's needs. Because if they tell me they're not selling, I say, okay, fine. Who do you know that is? And if they don't know anybody, then you have a ton of equity in your house, right? Let's go ahead and do refinance, and we need to take that out and make that money work for you. So I'm just constantly going through the list. And that's what you have to do, because a lot of people they say no, and then they put the phone down, and then they see my son in the yard, or I'm working with the client. But it's just asking those extra questions. Let me ask y'all this. The transactions that y'all done, do y'all call just the husband and follow up with them? Do you call both parties? How do y'all usually do it?
It just depends.
Yeah, I think it depends on the clients.
I talk to the one that wears pants.
Well, that's a good thing. But one of the things I would say is you lose 25 deals a year by not talking to both. Because like a husband and wife, a partner and a partner, each of them have different friends and different needs and work in different places. So one of the things is definitely talking to both people. Now, how often do y'all talk to the past clients? What is y'all schedule like with the past clients? That's another thing to look at. I would say when you look through your phone, get your past clients, you should look and see, what's the ones that give me the referrals the most of the time when I ask. I would put them in the VIP list. That's the top 20%. I would call them every month. And then the other people I would call once a quarter. And then if you got that C group that hadn't given you any referrals, you need to groom them about every quarter to every 5 months to see if you can get them from the C group to the B group, and then the B group to the A group. Because sooner you do that, that's going to be more listings, more referrals that you have. And then as far as one of the key things, as you can see what I'm doing, is communication. I know a lot of people just like to text, and that's good, when you're in a hurry or you're in a meeting or whatever. I find face-to-face is good, but I find calling the people. And when you call the people, then you can hear their tonality, and you can hear if they really need something, because I can't hear anything in a text, and I don't know from there. And then as far as, like I said, with the market stats, that's one thing that y'all really need to know. Every day, look in FMLS, because if you work in Alpharetta, you work in Marietta, whatever you work in, look at the stats and get familiar. Because just like you were saying, you have a couple of people on the fence. Three. And if you know the reason they're wanting to move, and if you can show them data. Another thing that I was going to tell y'all too is when you're in a selling business, asking questions is going to be key. We 99% tend to tell rather than sell. We tell what we can do and why you need to work with us rather than finding out what the client needs. So if you were to ask the people the questions, why you want to move, what's important about this, is the money important, or is the timing, and really talk to them, they'll tell you exactly what they're looking for. So I would say think in questions versus in statements, because then that'll get you further. Anybody has any questions so far?
I have a question.
Sure.
So with the, when you're calling expireds for 50 minutes, is that everything, or that's like you've dedicated 50 minutes to expireds, 50 minutes to past clients, 50 minutes? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying, Lisa, is that with expireds, I am dedicating 50 minutes to them because I want to try to get as many as I can.
Okay.
My goal. And so, but with the other, like past clients won't take up that much time if you have 5 or 6 to call. So that's why I was saying you do the past clients, you can do the FISBOs, and you can mix some, just listed, just sold.
So for the expireds, do you have kind of like a niche market that you focus on, or you're just calling everybody who's expired? Like, do you service a large area, or because there's only so many expireds, right?
Right.
So I guess, do you?
Car will travel. I would
Okay,
call
well,
it-
I didn't say that. So
Right.
that's
What
why
I-
I'm asking, like,
That's why I only have 3.
if there's 50 expireds for today, right?
Right.
Are you calling as many of those 50 as you can get, or is it you're only looking in a certain area? That's what I was
Sure.
asking.
What I do with that is I start with the area that I really want to work, and then I prioritize them and go through.
Okay.
Because if I have stuff in Buckhead, or if I have stuff in, Morningside, I'm not going to be running out to Canton.
Right. How frequently do you like co-op? So let's say, for instance, you got one in Canton, but you don't want to go to Canton. Would you partner with somebody like in the office and say, hey, I just got this great listing from an expired. You want to go 50-50? Like, do you do that? Or do
I
you-
have co-opted with some different people, like Lisa and I, we've co-opted and stuff, another Lisa.
Yeah.
And I have done that. But yeah, that's what I would be open to as like a partner,
Haven't you done that with Fran too?
and I've done it with
Yeah,
Fran too.
yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I've done that with people for me to be the person, because, too, Lisa, sometimes people can't quite close the deal with the people, either confidence, they haven't worked in the area, they haven't done that. And I'm even willing to, hey, Ken, it's been 7 days, I haven't been able to get a close on this. I'll be jumping on that and saying, hey, we're coming tomorrow at 5 o'clock.
Put a
You
sign
know.
in your yard.
But that's what I'm saying. So yes, the answer is yes, I would
Okay.
co-op, with you. Or even if you're going, hey, I'm having a hard time with this, can you help me sign this, get this listing signed? And I'd be more than happy to talk to the people. I just look at it like this. It's a business, it's not personal. Because some people take rejection, and that was a big lesson for me, because you think, oh my God, they rejected me. And a lot of people will get their confidence way down with that. And you have to look at it, no, it's just a business. They didn't reject you. They might have not been ready at the time. Another big tip too, when you're doing listings, is you've got 2 categories. You've got the people who want to and the people who need to. Now, I would like to be 27 again. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. So when you're looking at the people and they say they want to, ask them more deeper questions. Say, why do you want this? Well, only if I get my price. A couple things are gonna happen. They're not gonna accept offers. They're gonna be really hard to work with. They're gonna drain you like a vampire. And you're not gonna be able to do a lot more business. But the people's like, hey, I've got to be in Cincinnati, my job starts in 2 weeks, let's price it to sell. That's the people you're looking for. The people who want to do that, just pass them on to another agent that has a lot of time and get a referral. And at least you're getting some money out of it.
And
Go ahead.
let me ask you a question about expireds. Does everybody know how to find expireds? Okay. If an expired listing comes up, there are about 100 agents that are gonna call that home seller the next morning. You're up earlier than they are. But other than that, which is big, how do you compete with all those people that are calling the same seller?
Well, Janice, that's a great question. And one of the things too, as far as competing, you always got to keep a positive mindset. You know, like I'm enough to have affirmations, but you have to have in your mind that you are the best person for that person you're talking to on the phone. You're going to be the one that's going to get their listing, you're going to price it right, and it's going to sell, and you're going to get a check. You just have to keep that in your mind that you're the best person. And people tell me, you know, like we've had 15 people to call us already this morning. Well, it seems like you're still answering your phone. It sounds like you haven't found the right agent yet, right?
Love that.
What time at 5 o'clock would you like for me to come
Five
by?
o'clock. Yes, well, 5 o'clock then.
5 o'clock, I'll be there.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's just getting your mindset. And see, some people, they listen to powerful, motivational, like Oprah Winfrey in the morning and stuff, turning her on, listening to that, you feel like you can sell or do anything for the day. So it's just getting your mindset right, because if they're still answering the phone, they haven't found the person that showed them confidence in their voice that they think could do the job. And so that's the way I look at it.
What is, so when you're calling these expired listings, what is your approach in is it, I know you're saying ask the questions, but what are you trying to sell them and like explain to them why it didn't sell? Or are you trying to,
I'm trying to find out where they're at, where their motivation. Just for an example, I call them expired and they pick up the phone. I say, hey, my name is Kim Price. I'm with RE/MAX around Atlanta. I'm sure you figured out that your home has come up on our computer as an expired listing. And I was just calling to see, when do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? Never, really. So once you sell the home, where are you looking to go next? What's important about that? And why do you think that your home didn't sell while it was on the market? Oh, the agent. How'd you happen to pick the last agent, right? Oh, we picked them from family friend. And what did they do that you liked the best? What do you feel they should have done? And what would you expect from the next agent you choose?
that's amazing.
I would like to apply for the job of selling your home. Are you familiar with the techniques that I use to sell homes just like yours every day? They go, no, great, I'll see you at 5 o'clock.
Right, and of course, your goal is to get face to face.
Absolutely. That's one of the things that I find is getting the face to face. Once the person sees you and sees that you care, so to speak, then they know that they've got the right agent, you know, for the job. I find the number one thing that I beat a lot of agents out on getting listings is because they don't dress appropriately. You know, tie, suit, because I went up to one listing and she goes, you're hired. I showed up in a suit and everything. She goes, the last person came in cut off shorts, a polo shirt. I thought he was applying for a job as a gardener. We told him we already had one. So you get people like that. Think of it like this. Would I hire myself if I'm not dressed here, you know, in that way? Because you look at people, we're judged. As soon as they open the door, they decide if they're gonna hire you or not.
Sure.
In the first 5 minutes, I know it's not fair, but in the first 5 minutes, when they open the door, they go, no. Or either they go, oh, I wanna listen, I wanna hear more. Any other questions?
That is a great point, and it's something that I see every day, is agents that are not dressed professionally. Now, I do love those polo shirts that say RE/MAX, and they have a collar, no t-shirts, you know, they have a collar and they say RE/MAX. Those are nice too.
Well, I think you can still be business casual, you know what I mean? Because
That's
I'm
my lane.
business casual.
That's my lane.
Yeah.
Me too.
And,
Yeah.
you know, with
I'm
those
not
and
wearing a
stuff,
suit.
not in a suit,
No tie.
but you know, a dress or whatever's appropriate. You got your makeup on and lipstick and you look professional. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been behind people, women, no makeup,
Yeah.
just look like they just came from the grocery store.
So a quick shout out to Celeste. A quick shout out while we're speaking of dressing professionally. Celeste was on House Hunters
Oh, yes.
on what's that station?
HGTV.
HGTV. And I don't know if you all saw it. If you didn't see it, bring it up. I actually recorded it, Tootie, so I can show you. But she had 3 or 4 separate interviews that were on camera, dressed so professionally. And it makes a difference. And you were dressed a lot better than your clients, but guess what? You're the professional.
Right.
Yeah. And they trusted you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And see, Celeste, you could use that as a marketing tool to show people how you present yourself, how you look, you're professional, and that goes a long ways. Now, one of the other thing I wanted to ask y'all too, do y'all have a listing package? What do y'all give to the seller? And if you don't, then you need to create one. Because if you don't have a listing package, then what are you sending? You're just showing up and, hey, I'm here and this is what you get. You just gotta have a listing package. Maybe show, if you don't have a lot of sales, maybe show some of your company sales. Maybe some clients that you've already closed with. Get some letters of reference from them where you can have that. Just show, you know, do your listing package with your listing agreement. Already have that typed up completely, because if you don't have that typed up completely, that shows a lack of confidence that you're gonna get the listing and you're in there with a pen trying to write stuff in. That would convey to me that you didn't think you were gonna get a listing when you came. So just have everything in. My mindset is when I go out on a listing, they're gonna sign. We're gonna do this. If I'm gonna waste my time, my gas to go out, they're gonna do it. Another thing too, when you're talking to these clients, pre-qualify them. They will lie to you the first time. Talk to them again. Make sure everybody's on board. You know, ask them questions, how much they owe on the property. Have they ever thought about selling it themselves? Because you will get clients that'll try to dig the price from you where they can do for sale by owner, which, you know, that's common. But yeah, just ask them questions that you want to know more, you're curious. And I've only spoken to you, you know, Tootie. Is there anybody else that I need to speak to before I come out tomorrow at 4? Because you might have your husband, your partner, and there might be additional questions. Now, will all parties be there when I arrive? How many times have y'all showed up and they go, oh, she's at work, or I can tell her, I can tell him, whatever. Then you're gonna either have to come back out, or the other thing's telling me they're not really serious about listing their house. There were others want people who want this but want that. And then they're gonna, you know, drain your time.
Just for fun, we always called that a one-legged appointment. When you don't have both parties there at the same time.
And you think about this too, when you have to come out the second time, are you really gonna be energetic, motivated, wanting to work with these people? Or you just feel like you're just like, well, I don't have any other appointments, I might as well just go out. So definitely pre-qualify the people. And if they don't, you send them the package, I would say when you send them the package, try to make it the day before, even 2 days before, or that will give them time to look at it, and then call back and confirm. Well, Tootie, you said you got here 700 and we told you we wanted 850. You know what? That's the first thing we'll talk about when we get there. It never comes up. But that's what I'm saying, just be pre-qualified. because if you have like to go back the second time, that's wasted 2 times. You could be on another appointment.
I have a question. So you said to already have the listing agreement filled out, but what if you like have never been to the property before, but you already have put a price in there just based on comps?
That's a great question. One of the things I would say about that is when you're talking to the person, can you please describe your home for me?
Okay.
And then they'll describe, is there any upgrades? Oh, we updated our kitchen. When was that? A year ago, 5 years ago? Because some people think updated kitchen 20 years ago is still good today. So you have to qualify that. And then if you get there and it's not what they said that it should be, you know what? Based on what I'm seeing is not what I heard you say. We're gonna have to adjust the price to this.
Okay.
You know, because all homes need new kitchens, all homes need bathrooms updated or whatever needs to be updated, or the floors are scratched where the dog and stuff. So you can adjust there.
Okay.
And usually if you send them to that, you fought the contract, then they have a chance to get mad, pissed off or whatever, but they can't hold it for 24 hours or 48 hours. So by the time you get there, they're already, you know, thinking this is the price that we probably need to put.
Okay.
If they're really serious.
Yeah.
So Ken, another thing that you do that I find so fabulous is that when RE/MAX has a listing in the neighborhood, or if you personally have a listing in the neighborhood, or there's a neighborhood that you really want to do business in, what do you do and how do you start those conversations?
Well, one of the things that I do if I have a listing in the neighborhood, I will either do a couple of things. Either I'll make up a card if I just listed something like that, and I'll go and I'll knock door to door and just let the people know. Because I feel this way, I'm gonna get no's in sales, you're just gonna get no's. And I know, you know, if I get 2 no's, I'm gonna get a yes. Or if I get 4 no's, I'm gonna get somebody on the street that will say yes to me. And that's where my mindset is, waiting for that yes.
Do you adjust that at all when you're in a neighborhood that has a no soliciting sign up? Many HOAs have that. How do you defend that, or do you just honor the no soliciting?
Well, if it's like in a complex of like condos or whatever, I usually will just maybe do mailing in there, because you really can't, the only way that you can really get around that I find, is have an open house and invite everybody in the building.
Right.
And then you can have everybody at the, you know, in there, and you can be doing it, hey, I'm doing an open house, and they can't say anything. But just really be prepared to work that building when you get in there.
Yeah. See, I'm in an HOA and I'm on the board. We do have no soliciting.
This
So
is
I have to
subdivision
confront
or condo?
people. So I just, you know, I can meet people one-on-one, but just to go knock on their door, I would be against. So that's why I'm just trying to figure
You
it out.
have an advantage because
Big I do.
you actually live in that neighborhood and people know your name because you're on the board.
Exactly.
Yeah, do what Fran does.
Well,
Do you have a dog?
Oh, that's how I got most of my listings.
There you go.
There you
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
there you
yeah,
go.
my dog.
Every afternoon, you're out walking your dog, or
twice a
at
day,
8
yeah.
o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
and there are other people out walking their dogs too.
I got at least 12 listings by walking my dog.
There you go.
So-
is it soliciting if you're telling them about a new listing that their neighbor just listed? You're not asking for anything.
Well,
So I don't know.
Wow, that's.
No, that's
Well,
not,
what
I
I-
wouldn't think that's soliciting.
Yeah.
You're just passing along information.
Yeah.
you're just sharing information with them, and sometimes, you know, they'll take it, but the good thing is, if we as RE/MAX around Atlanta could really get out there every day and do this, and
Lose some weight.
it'll be a Ken Price weight loss product. What I was gonna say, if you can either get a flyer or get something like this, you hand this to somebody, most of the time they're gonna put it on their table at home, they're gonna, honey, who's this? You're gonna get some shelf life out of it. And I've had people call me, oh, 3 months ago, you were knocking on my door and you left this right here, we're ready to sell. And so you can get some shelf life out of that. I would say, Janice, what you were talking about, is just go and knock the doors. And if it's a listing right here, just say that there's only one listing on the street. And I was sharing this with Janice too. There's 2 more gonna go on this market in the next 7 to 14 days. And I wanna have my name on that sign. But see what happens if you get one on the street and then you get that second one go on the street, your chances go way down. You know why? They've already got 2 people on the street. And what do you think the rest of the street's gonna do? Well, Sarah and John's hired, Lisa, and over here, Quentin's been, the second agent. They're gonna call one of them first to see if they want them since they are on the street. So getting on the street first, knocking for that second listing is gonna help you either get that second or third listing. Because then if you get that, then you can say, hey, I got this listing, I talked to the Joneses, they're really happy, I just got it under contract. And how many days do you really have a listing on the market? It's went up some, but it hasn't went up that much. And if you can get out there, work it, and get paid, how many of y'all wanna get paid every week?
Yes, sir.
Just like a regular job, right? So if y'all wanna get out there every day, if y'all don't have an appointment, and do something like that, you'll start to see that you'll have a check every week, 2 checks every week, and you'll start building up your business.
How many hours at a time do you devote to door knocking?
Well, if I don't have an appointment in the afternoon, I will probably stay out there for 2 hours. Because when you're conversation with some of the people, it takes a little bit longer. But I either, get to the point with them and say, hey, you want to do some business or not? I gotta move on. But probably about 2 hours.
And you take your cards and you do a little research before you go so that you know what the neighborhood market is. If you want to list, if you want to sell, that's why he has 2 sides.
Right, and then I just knock on there, and then, somebody might say, you know what, Ken, we really don't want to list until June. You know what, that's great, I'm still gonna be in business in June. Can I go ahead and I set something up with you now? We'll see where the market's at, and then I'll get the contract signed for June. And then the contract, I can pull it out of my files and I already have a contract for June. So it's setting up future business. Don't be like, oh, okay, I keep calling you. That's not gonna work, because Lisa, what happens?
I don't call.
All right, so you don't wanna do that. That's why I'm saying, when you're there, they're at the highest state. So you need to get them to go ahead and sign it. If they wanna wait till June, even July. I had some people say, we're gonna wait till September. Oh, great, I can show you where the market is now. We can go ahead and get the paperwork to start on September the 5th. And then I can double check with you about a week before we go live to see where the market is in case we need to make any adjustments. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
So then you have a listing in September. Any other questions?
Do you track that most of your people, sounds like you do, some sphere, it's limited because you're doing a certain amount that you're just listed or just sold neighborhoods plus your FSBOs and your expired. Do you see that more come from one source or another, or is it evenly, which one?
Usually it just depends on where the market is at, because things do change, but your past clients and your center of influence is usually should be your strongest, because they know you, they've done business with you. So one of the things I would say is they are your gold mine. A lot of people don't realize that if you build a database and you groom it, you keep it up, when you get ready to slow down, you have something to sell. But I find so many people, they don't keep up with their clients, they don't get through this and that, and then when they get out of business, all they got is their social security check. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they don't have anything to sell. So that's one of the things. What were you saying?
Oh, I agree with you. I am nodding my head because I agree so much. And speaking of following up on past clients, I know you've had a lot of people call you from years back to come and relist, and those relist appointments don't take a lot of interviewing. They already know you. And that's the easiest money you can get is a relist in today's market.
Absolutely.
Y'all know who John Shapiro is. He's also one of our fabulous agents. He got a 20-year relist appointment last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. He sends out a newsletter once a week to once a year to his entire market. And it's a New Year's letter. Happy New Year. This is what I've been up to. This is what the market's been up to. Let's stay in touch. It's not, it's no pressure. It's a one page and nobody forgets him.
So I'm the opposite with this. This is why I was really interested to hear, because as you know, 99% of my business is just my past clients in my sphere. But that's great, but I also need to like do other stuff. So.
Well, I can tell you this here, a couple of things. I always send a newsletter every month, because what if, like for me, what if they didn't open last month and it's 4 months, 6 months down the line? For me, I send them something, what's happening in Atlanta, just different things like that to pique their interest and let them know what's going on. And when's the last time that, as y'all's past clients, some's probably been in their house 3 to 5 years, and usually when the client's in the house 3 to 5 years, they're getting ready to sell, or either they're gonna move up. When's the last time y'all sent them a CMA to let them know the value of their property? I would be calling them, sending them a CMA saying, hey, the market is great right now, and I just did a comparative market analysis of your home. You have $60,000, you have 150, you have 250,000. And then start asking, have y'all thought about moving, upgrading, and seeing what they say. Maybe they don't wanna move, maybe they bought a big house, a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom. Then I go back into, hey, are you looking for investment properties? How can we put that money to work for you and your family, that if you bought a duplex, rented that out, maybe one side will pay for Johnny's, college fund. The other side will pay for Susie's college fund. And then you still have a property making you money for retirement. Just different things like that.
Conversation starters.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Where do you find those duplexes when you?
Right.
Where do you find
Yeah.
it? Finding investment property is a little tough right now,
It
but
is.
guess what? Everything in real estate is a cycle. Yep, that's what that meant.
Yep.
Everything is a cycle.
Yep.
Yeah, it comes back.
I would say the biggest thing to finding property is communication with everybody in the neighborhood, and look for, if you're focused on duplexes, triplexes, quads, whatever, look and see in these neighborhoods who's had their property for a while, and then get in contact with them and see if they want to sell it. I mean, you really have to treat this as a job, because I know a lot of us that became a real estate agent, we didn't like that 9 to 5. We didn't like, being told what to do. But that is our biggest downfall, being an independent contractor, because we're the boss, we're the CEO, right? And if we choose not to work today and go to the hair salon or go here or go there, nobody's gonna know. Except when the end of the month comes and going, I don't have any listings, I don't have any sales, and no checks. So that'll be reality coming in.
So I want to ask Ken the big question, the really big question. If you were starting out today, like a lot of the people in this room are new to the industry, under 3 years, under 5 years, not a few of you. Few of you are much longer. Hey, oh yeah. But if you were starting over again today, you are hugely successful. You're making an income that you are proud of, right? His favorite color is green. I want everybody to know that.
Everything goes.
Everything.
Goes with green. That I wear.
Give me your top 3 things that you would do to kick off your business.
I think the top 3 things that I would do to kick off my business even more is I would call every day everybody that I could and talk to them about real estate. I mean, because you don't have any appointments when you first start off. You don't have any cash, you know, or you don't have any accomplishments yet because you haven't listed and sold. I would call everybody I know. I would call every expired. I'd call every sell by owner. I would call everybody that I've done business with. Just like at the cleaners, when you take your suits or you take your clothes and stuff, who do they know? I would ask everybody. But one thing I would do is start with that. And when I ask them for business, I would have something of value for them. That would be one of the things. The other thing is I would learn to ask more questions and deeper questions, because I can't tell you how many times you pass up an opportunity by not asking questions and just making statements. If you ask more questions in depth, you're gonna get more to the core if they're really gonna do something or not, or what's important, because that you can use when you're negotiating a contract. Well, you told me you want to be in Seattle. It was important because your son and your grandkids were there. That could be that little carrot to get them over the hump when they're having either seller's remorse or they're unsure of themselves. The other thing would be I would make a list of the want and the needs. And if they fell on the want list, I'd refer them and keep walking. But the best and highest thing that you can do for yourself, if the people are on the wants and they don't want to do what you want, you can refuse the listing. And then you come very attractive. And you can, you know what, it doesn't sound like we're going to be able to work together based on what you're wanting for your house and what you're wanting to do. I can refer you to another agent that would have more time to help you. Would you like me to refer you to somebody? Or do you want to list it at the price that's going to cause it to sell? And if they go, well, I want this, shake their hand and walk out the door. I've had people to call me back a couple months later. They went with another agent, it wasn't happening, and they called me back. But that's the highest and best thing that you can do. Any other thing?
Any other questions?
If
Anybody?
If you don't get the listing, when you go out, I know this is like La La Land for you. If you don't get it, do you call them and ask what made them select whoever else?
Absolutely, because that will help you in your presentation.
Mm-hmm.
You can find out, well, Ken, I really didn't feel that you were confident in working in this area. You only had a few listings, or your price point was just under where we had interviewed John, and John has sold more in this range. Then you know, hey, I gotta bump up my price range, or, you know, your presentation and stuff, we couldn't follow it, or we needed more data, or we needed this. That's another thing that y'all have to be. There's 4 types of personalities. There's the analyticals, right? They like figures and facts and a lot of data. Screwed. Yeah. And then you've got the amiables that are like people-pleasing people. They tell you what you want to hear, right? And make everybody feel lovely and everything's great. And they'll lie to you a little bit, but that's okay. And then you've got the driver personality, where they're like, hey, just tell me where we need to be and I'll sign the contract. But if you start like, well, we need to look, no, they won't sign it. And then the 4th one is an expressive personality, like Tootie and I. You're just like the life of the party. And with us, with the life of the party, everything's wonderful and fabulous. We just need to get it, you know, hey, this is what we gotta do. and I'm sure too, are you like this too? If you let them go for a little bit and then you yank the rope and say, hey, we're doing this. I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah.
You're gonna sign the contract, we're gonna do it this way, and we're gonna go. But that's just the 4 personalities, and when you're pre-qualifying, just sort of see where they fall in, because you wouldn't do a presentation to an analytical like you would do a presentation to a driver. You're not gonna get the listing. You know, like if they say, hey, send me data, information and stuff, you know they're analytical. Having the conversation with either the partner or the wife will also let them know. Because what if the woman that wears the pants, she's a driver, she don't care about all that other, she just wants to get to the point. So that's another thing that y'all need to be cognizant of doing, where you'll know how to present. Because if you go in your personality style, it's not gonna work for the people that you're doing. Because I bet you if y'all look in y'all's database, I bet you probably 8 out of 10 of the people is your own personality style. They're not any, and each personality style that you're not able to feel like you're in their tribe or talk their language, you're missing 25 deals a year from each one of those. And somebody else is getting that. And I think y'all like checks, right? Money, commission.
Green.
Green.
Celeste, you had a question.
Oh, yeah. Ken, just going back to time blocking during the day. When do you end your professional day, and how are you scheduling personal life stuff, dropping stuff, cleaners, and all that good stuff? Like how, do you have a day that you just do that midweek, or what does that look like for you?
Well, what that looks like for me, because I know a lot of people, they try to weave in, weave out, you know, hey, I can go to cleaners, I can get my hair done, I can do my nails, I can do this, and they're just a hot mess, because you can't get anything done, right? So what I do, if I'm going to,
Sorry, I'm not pointing it to you.
Pointing at the wall, right?
It all works out there.
Yeah. But it's crazy. You got all kinds of balls in there. I say what the main thing that I do is I will try to take some time off to schedule, or I put it in as an appointment for me towards the end of the day. If I finished up what I need to finish up, because it depends too, you know, if you need a full day to do everything, because then you're focused on those tasks rather than you're trying to work and go, oh, I gotta run and drop my clothes off. Oh, I gotta get my hair done. I gotta go do this. I gotta do that. I gotta go grocery shop. And it just messes up your whole week. Because we have 168 hours in a week. Did y'all know that?
Yes, we learned that from Q.
Yeah, absolutely. And so really, if you were to have a family life, business life, personal life, where you won't be single forever, is just work 40 to maybe 50 hours a week. And then you have all that other time. I find that if you're not a morning person, I'm a morning person. If you're not a morning person, then you might need to do what you need to do in the morning. And then that 3 to 6 o'clock in the afternoon, really hit it hard. Like if the door knocking and everything, because usually a parent's home with their kid at 3 o'clock. So from that 3 to 6, knock on their door. Hey, what's for supper? You know what I'm saying? Just get out there, and then that will give you that time block. The other thing I would say is if you're not a morning person, you're like 10 o'clock or whatever, 12, you need to start perfecting your skills on presenting, even if you have to put 2 of your kids' teddy bears up there and present to them. You know what I'm saying? Just to get yourself comfortable with it. Does that answer your question?
It does.
I was gonna say, so as far as like phone numbers for sale by owners, are you using any kind of like systems or expireds outside of like Reline, or what's your best tactic of getting that information quickly so you're ready to go the next day?
Well, there's all kinds of different services that you can get to do. You can I'm just trying to think of the different ones that you could get.
Red X.
Yeah, you can get Red X, and Red X will get you numbers there. And yeah, just look in there, just put for, calling numbers and stuff. But yeah, Red X is good, I've used them. I would probably say Red X, sometimes 60 to 70% of their numbers are good and some of them are bad. One thing to frame of mind at that, just know that up front and not have your expectation that they've given you the right number for everything.
Okay.
Because sometimes they give you their mother's number, and it's the son selling. And I'm like, you know what, I am so sorry, I thought your son still lived at your house. What's his number? Because millennials live at their parents for a while, so anyway. So just like that, yeah, with Red X. But the biggest thing I can leave with y'all is definitely, if y'all don't set y'all's boundaries of schedule and the time for y'all to practice and the time for y'all to dedicate for work, you're gonna just struggle the whole time.
Mhm.
You're gonna be Uber and lifting it. You know what I'm saying, on the side. You don't wanna do that.
No.
So what I'll say too, if y'all have any problems with any of y'all's listings or getting a listing, I would be more than happy to co-op with you. And as far as like price reductions, if the property is not moving, I'm gonna get the price reduction. So if y'all need help with that, because I can talk to the people like, they need to do what they need to do if they're gonna make it happen. And there's sometimes it just takes, people a little bit, they're not comfortable with that because it might be a relative, it might be a friend, it might be somebody at a higher level than they're usually listing, like somebody at 2 million or 4 million or whatever, and you've been working down in the 6 to $1 million range, and sometimes people feel intimidated, and you just have to think of it, it's a business based on my information. Your house is not worth 2 million, it's worth $1,850,000.
I do have another thought, and it's a whole class in itself, but some of us in this room are very new. And when you go to listing appointments, you really don't have a lot of history to say, hey, I've worked in this price range, I've been here 23 years, I live in the neighborhood, whatever it is, you don't have that kind of data to back up. And honestly, it's a big discussion, but that's where associating with an experienced agent might come in handy. Or think of other things that you can say in that situation, like, I'm your best bet because I'm the hungriest guy on the block, right? I need to make money and I am gonna get out and I am going to, what's that thing about shoe leather? I'm gonna wear down my shoe leather, I'm gonna knock on doors, I'm gonna hold your open houses. But anyway, that's a whole different class.
Right. I would probably say for the agent that doesn't have a book of business or experience or spotty, they might get 4 listings in January and then they don't get 4 more until August. The biggest thing that you could tell them is, hey, I work for RE/MAX around Atlanta. We're in 110 countries and territories. And where are you gonna get that kind of coverage? And if you put all of our agents' experience here at RE/MAX, we have over 100 years experience. Now, do you wanna work with a company like that? Or do you wanna work with somebody that has less experience, or they're only in 35 other countries? Cause like, Keller Williams and different, they're only like in 38, countries, where we're in 110 countries. Now, do you want a lot of exposure or you want a little exposure? And then they go, well, maybe like you were saying, you just don't have the backing. Well, I have somebody that has 25 years experience, 23 years experience that I could put as the co-op agent and they can get us through this.
Or co-agent.
Co-agent.
Yep.
Yeah, co-agent, I said
Yeah.
co-op.
Yeah.
Yeah, co-agent.
And
So,
that check.
Huh?
know what you mean.
Thinking about that check.
Well, it's better to have half a check than no check.
There you go.
Right?
Right.
Right.
And then when you do that, then you get that experience of seeing how things are run and what you need to do, rather than trying to learn as you go. Because that's the most painful thing, is trying to work the blind leading the blind.
You know those cards that you put out after you've sold a house in a neighborhood? I know Tootie's about to do the Four Seasons neighborhood because she just sold, what was it, 715? Great price for that neighborhood. I happen to live in it. Great price for that neighborhood, and those "I just sold this" will go a long way, right?
That will re-cement their mind that you have experience
Yeah.
and that you have knowledge of the neighborhood.
Even though it's the first house in that neighborhood you sold, I sold it.
But let me add this too. When y'all take the listing, when they sign the paperwork, I always do this at the end. Who else do you know that's thinking about doing this? Ask for a referral immediately. Because they're at the highest peak, they're excited, they've hired somebody, it's come to. When y'all do that, and then when I get an offer on the property and we get it under contract, I ask again, who do you know would like to experience this at your work, your church, your country club, whatever? And then once I'm finished with the inspection, I ask them again. I'm going, you gotta give me something. So I asked them that at the time. And then after closing, when we're finishing up closing, I asked them the same question. So I asked them 4 times for business. You know what that does to the client?
Conditions them.
It puts them, huh?
I said conditions them.
It does.
Absolutely.
It puts your name in front of them, their mind, so they're on alert to run into people like that. And they'll call you. I bet if you do that, you will start getting more referrals from the clients because they're constantly thinking. But like I said, also giving them something of value. And that's, hey, I got the house listed, I got the house under contract, I got through the inspection, because you know some of those inspections can be brutal. And then I got it to the finish line, closing. Any other questions, thoughts?
You had mentioned having an assistant earlier. Or what does your assistant do for you? What do you pay your assistant? How did you find your assistant?
Well, you know, Tootie, as far as an assistant and everything, Remax had offered list to close.
Yes.
And so I just used that service.
Oh, okay.
So that helps me out there.
Okay.
That frees me up for letting my assistant to go get paperwork signed, to e-sign, and I don't have to look at that. And if there's something that I need to talk, you know, once a week or whatever, we're doing some deals, I set times, you know, like 15 minutes. Hey, I need to talk to you. Let's make sure we're on the same page. And what was the other?
So you don't actually have another assistant that you pay an hourly wage to?
No, I just pay at the end of the transaction.
Yeah, the
And
contract
see,
to close.
yeah, contract to
Okay.
close. And see, if you think about that, if you're just starting out and you're getting business, or if you've been in business, you're not having to worry about paying hourly, tax, and, you know, taxes and
Yeah.
doing all of this, where you go, okay, I got 50,000 or 60,000 I gotta give to an assistant. So
I know.
I got that, you know, all that pressure on me right away. But if you use the service and everything, I've been very happy with it.
Me too.
Because they've taken care of it, getting stuff signed. And if, how can I put this? I'm a control freak. So I have learned to let that go. Because that's the biggest thing is in a real estate agent. It might not be done the way that you would do it, but as long as it gets done, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And I've been more like, it's got my name on the door, it's got my name on the contract, it's got my name. And I find that if I let that go, it gives me opportunity to focus on new business and other business, not my hand being in the file trying to, you know, trying to make this work and trying to do this and being distracted.
Or answer my review letters. They do it. They answer them, they supply the documents, so, you know, and when I say they, it's actually, Sandy Ziegler that heads that up, and it's very inexpensive. I can't remember though, $250?
Yeah.
$275 at closing, it's out of your closing check.
Right now, I have nothing under contract, so there's no work for them.
Yeah.
Like, I can handle it right now.
Yeah, but like I said, that would be the biggest thing anybody can do, is to go ahead and start and get that one or two, and then that frees you up to be able to do the other things rather than just focusing on that. And
Oops, go ahead.
go ahead. No, okay.
I just wanted to, I know, I'm over my hour, so I just wanted to mention two more things. One is that, Kristen Jones sent me a list of lead generation websites and what their parameters are and what they charge. So I made a bunch of copies of it here, if any of y'all wanna pick up a copy, or I can email it to you, just let me know that you want it emailed. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that the second in this series will be in about 3 weeks, and it's gonna be John and David Shapiro. And they are going to talk about how they built their business. Who is that?
John Shapiro.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hey, John. Oh my goodness, come
I was
on
actually
in.
just listening a little bit.
I
How are you
never
doing?
see you in this office. This is John. John has been with RE/MAX for about 25 years, I guess. Is that right? I don't know who you are.
Hi, I'm Victor. I'm with Super.
Oh, good, come
Yeah,
in. Oh, good, I'm so glad you're here.
27 years, yeah.
27 years, and he has done so well that he just bought his first apartment in New York City.
That's
I know, it's his little pied a terre.
Absolutely.
It is, I'm so happy for him.
Are you moving there?
No.
No.
Just for fun?
You know, just to sneak off a little bit.
Yeah. So y'all may or may not know that John's son is David Shapiro, who is also, I think didn't he win top agent in income this year?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He lets everyone know that Dad took a little plunge.
Dad took a plunge. But they'll be talking to us next session. What was the date we did for that? May something.
It's early May.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
early. It's May something. I'll be sending
Yeah.
out notices, and they're going to talk about how they built their business as well.
And we don't agree on anything, so I'm
No, they are two completely different personality types.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. Ken, I'm sorry I missed some of this, but I'm listening a little out there.
Oh, I had no idea you were out there.
So-
And let me introduce one of our newest vendors. Please tell us about you.
Hey guys, how are you? I'm Victor. Lovely to hear a little bit about what you're talking about, and precisely we're here to help you and support you as well. We're Super, home warranty and services company. We do a lot of things a little different from most home warranty companies. Our mission overall is to improve the homeowner experience, but also help you get more referrals and close more transactions. And how do we do that? Well, I'm just gonna give you a brief description. But number one is we are the only home warranty company that has a digital platform out there. So when you do a claim, you submit it through your phone. It's an app or the digital website. If your client does it, you can track all of it. Sometimes they call you, right? And they say like, hey, you know what? Something broken. Has like, oh yeah, I sold it to you, but you know, the due diligence period is over. I have nothing to do with it. That's just an extra touch for you, so you can keep that conversation going. So think about like a CarMax for a house. All the maintenance services that you've done through that, you can track them. And then at the end of the year, is like you can call them and see like, hey, I saw that, you know, this went down. How's everything with the house? And that's just another touching point for you guys, and not trying to be pushy in the sales. So our digital platform allows us to do that. We have a record time of booking appointments within 2 hours and dispatching it within 9 hours.
Oh, that's
So
major.
that's
major.
yeah. So we have that. That's our numbers here in Atlanta. We're pretty fast. Our technology allows us to integrate with the API with our different contractors. And then number two, we have something called In the Clear program. So during the due diligence period, you send us the inspection report, and we'll tell you in writing will not be denied due to pre-existing conditions. So when you're negotiating on behalf of your client or you're selling, that gives you room to fix things. You know, this is not working. The HVAC might not work within the next 2 years, so you gotta pay attention to that. get some type of concession. Right now, because it's a crazy seller's market, we know that there are not a lot of concessions out there, but at least you are having that conversation with your client, letting them know that what could go wrong, making the recommendation, and we don't charge you anything for that. So you send it, within 24 hours you'll have it in your inbox, and you can talk to your client about what could go wrong, and then that gives you room to negotiate. On top of that, we have services, so carpet cleaning, gutter cleaning, termite, you do everything through your phone. There's no cash involved, you pay through there, there's no like, hey, you know what, maybe you need this or that. So that increases transparency and gives you room to improve that customer experience, and hopefully we can help you get your numbers right too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I will leave some of the information right here for you to take, and if you need anything, I'll send you the info. I'll get the roster from upstairs, and we'll go from there.
And Super also sponsored a little snack.
Oh yeah, some
out
snacks
here,
over
so
there.
there's food in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely, have a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I will give y'all all my card, just in case.
What is it
That
called?
you-
What is it
What's the
called?
cost, Victor?
Oh. So we have I'll give you this, we have 3 different packages, you know, it's not one solution fits all, but we start at $430 for the buyer's plan, and then it's add-ons, you know, like R22 incompatibility, the most common plan, it's the signature, which is $730, but that includes its covered upgrade. Our coverage limits are unlimited, for example, on HVAC, and then it goes up to 3,000 on appliances and stuff like that. So, you know, what I always say, it's just send us the inspection report, I can make the right recommendation, so you can best advise your client. But yeah, average is like $730 and then like 6 something.
Is your number on there?
Yeah, so I'll give you
Yeah, we can
this.
put them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's
It's
a,
like super as in.
like
Super.
superintendent, yeah.
Like
Oh,
Superman,
but you,
Superman.
that's so funny. I
Not
thought it was,
super,
yeah,
me
something
too.
to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people
yeah,
get
yeah.
confused
That-
here, yeah, super and super, no, but it's like superintendent,
Yeah.
right? Because you just call it your superintendent,
Yeah.
like if you were renting your house but you own it, and that's it, yeah.
Let me ask you a
What's the
question.
deductible?
$75. Yeah, it's $75, no cash involved, you have the whole transaction process, because sometimes contractors will go out there, you know, and because, you know, the guys who are desperate to fix a problem, they will like, you know, fix it, I'll pay you cash or whatever, and that creates that lack of transparency and a lot of patchwork. We avoid that by doing everything by credit card and tracking the whole process.
Quick question.
Sure.
Oh, go ahead.
What I was gonna ask you, just like when you take a listing, do y'all cover the property?
Right, so on the seller side, we have 6 months for free. If anything breaks, you pay either the plan or the repair maintenance, whatever is cheaper. So let's say the HVAC goes off, but you're with Super, and the charge is $4,000, you just pay the plan, which is $739 for the annual.
Do you have
Okay.
anything
Play a
for
deductible.
people that have already closed, but they didn't get a warranty? and they still want
Yes,
one?
so we have 15 days for closing with those prices. If anyone, you already sold a house, and let's say they wanna get coverage because after a year, their home warranty was awful, and they ask you for a recommendation, we give you $200 in a referral fee called the Connections Program. So existing homeowners, you know, like they've been there after a month or whatever, you get $200 for that referral, because RESPA does not actually penalizes you or anything, because it's not a transactional fee. So we have that program too. I'll send you the Connections Program link. If I can get your card too, or I can ask for the roster.
It's a
upstairs,
different
whatever.
price for that, right?
It's $100 more, and then because of this crazy market and the concessions and all that, we actually give you the first month free for existing homeowners, and then also what we're doing is you can buy it monthly. So your homeowner can pay it on a monthly basis instead of buying it upfront at the time of closing. Yep, absolutely.
And Super is on our vendor site on the RMAA hub also. And I want to thank Ken. Ken, you've been so generous. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, you do.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Got your program already. Okay. But I'm actually going to knock on doors today, so it's so funny.
That was great.
I've got a client.
Thank you.
Can't find something to learn how to South Rhode Island in this one neighborhood, and